Alright, the back of the Landmaster is all sanded and awaiting primer, so I'm moving on to the front canopy section. Not a canopy, just front end section of the Landmaster. I've already pinned it, with the amount of pins that I need. Won't be doing that stuff twice. It's just, once is enough in terms of explaining how that goes. I'm going to glue together this section first and not be gluing this on there right now. This is pinned, but I'm going to be using it to make sure that I'm not squeezing this together or having it too wide where I have to do an excessive amount of filling to match my edges. So I'm using everything, the entire model as an alignment guide to make sure that nothing's drifting. Being that it's all faceted and these lines are just supposed to be continuous from this point to this point without a seam here, I want to make sure that I'm not violating that at any point. Also, I'm using the midsection again to make sure that I'm not too wide or too narrow when I'm gluing this together. Just by putting my pins in, I'm able to keep an eye on that and make sure that I'm not going to be going awry in any way. So this rear section I'm going to put off to the side. I'm happy with all the putty working on here. So this part's good. I'm putting it off to the side. Again, I'm pulling out a couple pieces that are not perfect pulls because I can easily fix them. So this one has an air bubble in it. The other one doesn't. Yeah, well, there's a couple air bubbles in this, but nothing major. I'm going to glue it together, but first I'm going to chop this out. And you've already seen me mill out stuff before, so I'm just going to shut the camera off, mill that out, and then jump right back in and glue it together on camera. Well, I'll just say, as live TV, I actually sanded. I was just trimming up the edge, and I sanded too much. And the way I know this is I was putting it to the pin to the back end. I could use the middle piece, or I could use the entire back end of the machine. But I have a nice large gap. I'm just going to fill that with glue because that's the only way that this is going to line up. Be careful when you're flat sanding your parts. I just ran this a couple times around some 320, and I guess I was heavy-handed and I took off way too much material. Bottom looks fine, but I must have leaned into it or something and caused that to happen. On the front, again, I'm not gluing the cabin on permanently. I'm in the process of drawing up an interior for this. At least just the front part, seats, steering wheel, and that's it. I couldn't stand the fact that I didn't have an interior yet, so that's on the computer right now. Analyzed more footage from the movie so I could make sure all the gauges and everything are in the proper spots, but nothing too crazy, just giving a starting point for somebody that wants to super detail this thing. What I'm looking for right here is to make sure that this top area is flush and these areas line up on the corners right here. So I want that line to continue all the way down the side. Very little filling. I just want just a little bit of filling to hide this seam there. Obviously a little more filling here, but that's my own fault. And also this area right here, I want to make sure that all these lines line up good. So I'm just going to go through here and glue it up sequentially and make sure everything is straight and true and sized correctly. My pins might be a little high too. So, to grab a trusty dusty Dremel tool. Open up my pins a little bit. Better. Go a little heavy-handed with the glue right here. What would really show this to be a flaw is there's a vent that drops into here, and that would really show a large gap, or we'd have to hog out the top of it in order to make sure that drops in flush. So nope. In the center of the frame. Yeah, that width is correct. And we also want to make sure that it is straight. We don't want any bows or, see that right now. We want this part to be straight across. We don't want it to be misaligned, bowed in, or bowed out. We just want nice straight across. Like that. As I'm making a mess on my desk. So now I'm just going to I've tack glued everything, you know, quickly double check to make sure I'm happy with how it's going to line up, which I am. It's good to be careful at otherwise you're going to be paying for it later down the line. Now I think I'm just going to flood the that glue bottle is completely solid. Now I'm just going to fill the entire seam with drops of super glue. Try not to glue my hands together with this one. You can see down inside of it. So the glue doesn't puddle up, I kind of rotate it a few times. But I wanted to make sure that that whole seam is filled so it can't ever split on me. Whoa! Forgot I don't have an end on this. I really hate the spray. But I'm doing this and then I'm going to be running out of this room. Even though I have ventilation in here, I just don't like the smell of the accelerator. Also, because the seam is so thick, or so wide I should say, I'm going to put some masking tape on here to contain any glue that might want to run out of my my gap there. So I'm just going to fill the gap. Now you can do this with epoxy too if you needed to, or any adhesive that you like. I'm just going to build up some super glue in the joint. Because I could tell now that, see, it lines up really nicely with this joint right here. That's my long Landmaster. But it's going to be next video will probably be a week or two away now because of the interior work. I'm going to concentrate on that and get those molds going. So, and I won't be able to glue this on until it has an interior in there, because yeah, once the interior is, or once this is glued on, it can't work through anything. It's such a tight fit. So the interior will actually stop here. I'm going to put the little bulkhead that's right behind there, and the seats. Once the windows are on, it's going to get very dark in there really quick. But at least I'll know they'll be in there, and I can sleep better at night because of it. So that's it for now.